Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's pre-Thanksgiving and you're probably all excited to get offline and take some time off. But today we are excited to have you so we can show you a little bit about ZOOMstudio, have a casual demo, and then take some questions from the audience. I also have JGR, our marketing manager, joining us today. She has been in the industry for quite some time and has quite a bit of experience on both the supplier and distributor side, as well as with our tools. So she's going to bring a great perspective to today's demo. Hi, JGR.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody. All right, so as mentioned, today is demo day. So each time we host a demo day, we're going to focus on a different topic. Today, you're all joining us for learning how ZOOMstudio can empower your sales team. If you haven't signed up for the other sessions, please do. And in those other sessions, we're going to have other topics such as using ZOOMstudio for marketing, integrating ZOOMstudio on your website, and launching ZOOMstudio to distributors to be able to create the content they need. Now, we have quite a mixed audience joining us today. We have some suppliers that have ZOOMstudio, suppliers that do not have it yet, and then we do also have a couple of distributors. Our core focus for this demo is showing ZOOMstudio to suppliers, but for those distributors joining us, you absolutely can use these tools and do much of what we explained today. And if anybody who's joining us would like an additional demo, more in depth, or would like to speak one-on-one, reach out and we'll be happy to set up a time. So for our agenda, we're going to start by covering why we built ZOOMstudio. Then we're going to talk about what it is. Then we'll also go over who's going to use it. And then we're going to create some content and get into empowering your sales team. And as mentioned, lastly, we'll take some questions from the audience. You can type your questions into the Q&A or chat box at any time throughout, but I will only be jumping to those at the end. We're also going to try to keep the session to 30 minutes. We may run over a little bit depending on how many questions we get. So first, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about why we built ZOOMstudio. So our industry has been undergoing a digital transformation for a decade or more. It has been excelled by COVID, and those manual processes that both suppliers and distributors employ every day are starting to become quite a burden. It's really important for companies to start looking at how technology can transform those processes, making them faster, more efficient, and easy for both your internal team and your customers. Also, volatile supply chains. We had the same conversation over and over again with our suppliers over the last couple of years who struggle with keeping their catalogs, flyers, and presentations up to date. When you create a catalog, you are likely using a designer or outsourcing and having a professional create these pieces in InDesign or Illustrator, and it can take weeks, if not months, to put them together. You're copying and pasting product information and trying to find product images, laying out the perfect piece. Once you're done, you save and you're able to convert it into a Zoom catalog, and then you have something amazing to share. However, the challenge comes in when a product is discontinued or pricing changes. What do you do about your piece? Of course, we do provide easy ways to send an updated version so you can update your Zoom catalogs and content with us, but it does take time and require resources, and it also means you have to pay attention to when these changes are happening. That can be challenging when pricing is changing quite often. So with ZOOMstudio, we really needed to address this, and we'll get more into it, but we actually connect your product data to ZOOMstudio. It's the heart of ZOOMstudio, and it allows people to create content with accurate data whenever they need, and they can create with confidence. Also, changing expectations. Buyers are buying products differently, finding product differently, selling them differently, and it's really important that our industry keeps up with these changes. One really good example is as the younger generation becomes our core audience of people who buy promotional products, they expect things to be done quickly, fast, and efficiently. They use technology in their day-to-day, and that is something that suppliers need to provide buyers. So one thing you'll learn about Zoom Catalog is you're able to give distributors very simple, easy-to-use tools that they can use to self-serve when they need it. We know that there's like the age-old thing where suppliers feel they need to create and do everything for distributors, and we also know that's not going to change overnight. which is a part of why we built ZOOMstudio. It empowers your team as well. So for those buyers that do need you to create for them, anybody on your team can do it now quickly and easily. However, there's also the side where distributors can self-serve as well. And then growing custom needs is another. So over the years, suppliers offer amazing content. Suppliers have looked at the catalogs they're providing, going beyond the full line catalog, doing more seasonal pieces, vertical pieces. And these are really great sales tools for both distributors and suppliers. However, distributors are more than ever looking for customization options. With Zoom Custom, our other platform, they can put their branding and information on there, which is really helpful. But ZOOMstudio allows the user to go beyond that. Everything is customizable, from changing out products to changing product information, marking up pricing, changing the branding, and more. I know suppliers get tons of requests every day for lookbooks, presentations, easy ways to share products, and it's very difficult to fulfill these requests easily and in a way that looks great, because it does depend on design resources. However, with ZOOMstudio, you can now fulfill these requests and create content at scale with little impact to costs and time involved. So those were the main things that influenced us on creating ZOOMstudio, a solution for our industry. So ZOOMstudio is the industry's smartest and easiest design tool, enabling you to create custom content at scale. We've already touched on that as we talked about why we built the tool. But one really important point is that we built this technology for the promotional product industry. We've been working in the industry for over a decade. We understand both supplier and distributor pain points very, very well, especially when it comes to creating content like catalogs, lookbooks, presentations, and flyers. This tool is going to have the features that are appropriate for your product specs and the way that our industry does sales. So who will use ZOOMstudio? We have 4 core audiences that will use ZOOMstudio if you decide to come on board. First of all, your marketing team. Being able to create catalogs, lookbooks, flyers in minutes is going to be a game changer for everybody. Also, your sales team, which will be the focus of today's presentation. Enabling your sales team to get things together quickly for customers on demand without having to be dependent on your design team or outsourcing or creating something themselves and taking time to do that. They'll be able to put together what they need quickly and easily and send it off to their customers, and then be able to track that as well. Also, your design team. We've touched on it already a bunch, but your design team likely spends weeks, if not months, putting together your catalogs, making them look amazing, and then struggles to keep them up to date. Now your design team will have tools that they can use to be able to create these pieces faster than ever. And then distributors. You can invite distributors to use your ZOOMstudio. You can link it up to your website and they can go in there to create what they need when they need it. So distributors can self-serve and get exactly what they need to facilitate their sales process. To touch on some of the benefits, we already explained that you're going to be able to create and capture more demand. We know you're getting these requests for this content, and we also know it's a struggle to keep up with it and actually get pieces out quickly. Now, no request is off the table. You are able to fulfill them as they come in. ZOOMstudio also makes it easy to collaborate more and make better decisions. Without ZOOMstudio, you're likely copying and pasting website links into an email to send product ideas to a customer, or if you're ambitious, maybe using a tool like Canva or Google Slides, but it's very all over the place and it's hard to keep track of. Once you've created something and sent it, it's unlikely you know what happens next. With the ZOOMstudio dashboards, you get the tracking you need so you can see if people are viewing and sharing, and you also get to collaborate by sharing designs with each other. So you'll be able to get data from what you're creating and then use that data to make decisions down the road. You'll be able to design more without spending more. To be able to create more catalogs and flyers right now, it likely means you have to send that onto your design team, potentially expand your design team, outsource that design work. But because ZOOMstudio is built for everybody and is so intuitive to use, you can now have anybody on your team create, and you can utilize the assets and the resources you have on hand. And you can create content in minutes, not hours. I already discussed how difficult it is to put a catalog together traditionally using InDesign, finding the product images and copying and pasting information. But now you can do that really quickly and easily with the product information connected to ZOOMstudio. So now I'm going to jump over to the tool and I'm going to do a really quick tour. Now, just a reminder, this is a quick look at the product. So if you want a more in-depth demo and be able to see a lot more of this, definitely reach out. We'll schedule a one-on-one and we'll take you through everything. So with ZOOMstudio, you'll get a dashboard and we'll come back to this to talk a bit more about it. But to get started, you'll simply create a new design. Once you start a new design, you're going to give it a name. Choose your currency if applicable, and then you can switch out the logo if you need. So you will, by default, will have your company logo here, but if you're creating for someone else, like a distributor, you can quickly access a different logo. When you access the logo, you're going to be accessing our shared asset library as well. Another thing I'll touch on, but that means you can share assets amongst your team. You could have a library of your distributor logos or your customer logos and brand assets to use throughout these designs. Once you get started, you'll see that the tool is very, very simple. This is by design. We wanted to make it so that anybody can create something that looks great in here without getting confused or lost, and ensuring that the output looks professional and nice and on brand. So on the left-hand side, you can see we have our pages. Here I can add pages, delete them, clone them, and change the order. In the middle, we have a page, and then on the page, we have a layout. This is what we call our smart layout because it does the design decisions for you. You're not deciding where things should go, how they should align, what fonts they should have. All of that is predetermined. All you're doing is choosing the content, like what products and what images. So this layout is very basic. It's just 4 products and a logo, but you are able to go to our layout library and choose a different layout depending on what you're creating. You'll see this a little later, but you can create a simple presentation with single pages, or you can create a double-page spread catalog or lookbook as well. So you could switch up the layout if you want. And then all you're doing is clicking on each block to add the content. I'll start by adding products to the 2 product blocks. And this is where you're going to be able to access all of your products. I already mentioned we're going to connect to your product data and keep it up to date. So when somebody is in here, they can easily search by product, keyword, product name, etc. So I'll search for a product, find the options available. I can also choose a different color. And then when I'm happy with the one I found, I'll click add, and that will populate on the page with all of the up-to-date product information. And then I can keep going and add as many other products as I want, as well as many other pages as I need. I can also edit the product details. We won't go too in depth with this. This is something we'll show you on a one-on-one if you're interested, but you can mark up pricing, change the product images, choose different product colors, etc. So you get full control over that product information. Then on the top here, you can see I have an image block. And I already explained that we have an image library or an asset library where you can have assets available from your team and share amongst your team. So you can upload all your lifestyle shots, catalog images, brand logos. So when you come in here, you have some great assets to use. We also have partnered with Unsplash to bring in a library of thousands of royalty-free stock images that you can search from and use within your designs. So you can search for a nice photograph to drop into your design. Once you find one you like, you'll pop it in there and you're ready to go. So you can see I put together a fairly simple presentation. If I wasn't talking so much, I would have had this done in 30 seconds, but you can see it's really quick. All I need to do now is hit publish design and I'm ready to go. So I get my link and I'm going to be able to copy and paste this and pop it into an email and send it off to my customer. They'll click and be able to view it just like this. And they can also click on the products to view additional information such as the price table, other colors, product images, and description, making these quite a bit more shoppable. So you can see I quickly created a piece. This is a really quick walkthrough of ZOOMstudio. There's quite a bit more to it, but on the high level, you can populate your page with products, images, and text, logos. All the design is done for you. You get your link and you're good to go. You also can track that link in the dashboard so you'll know when your customer has viewed it and shared it. So we'll come back to the tool in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about enabling your sales team with ZOOMstudio. So this is where JGR is, why JGR is joining us. As I mentioned, she has experience on both the supplier and distributor side in sales. So we're going to talk about a few areas in which you could use ZOOMstudio. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer.
I think when we started talking, there's so many scenarios that we could be pulling this in, especially knowing as a distributor, things that I used to receive from salespeople. There's so many ways to use, and I had no idea as a distributor, I had so many options, but suppliers actually didn't have those same kind of options to use, which makes so much sense as to why I would get emails with links and things like that. So thank you for letting me put together some scenarios. I promise to keep them brief because we know I have a lot of opinions because I was a high maintenance distributor at some point. So
absolutely,
I'm so excited to go through these.
Yes. And then just a disclaimer that we are not saying that if you get ZOOMstudio, you need to do all of this. This is just some ideas and where you, some ideas where you could implement ZOOMstudio to improve your sales cycle. Some may resonate with you, some may not, but I think it's really helpful to understand the full scope of how useful ZOOMstudio can be for your sales team. So JGR, take it from here.
All right, so the first thing is prospecting. So many supplier reps probably have a long list of different contacts that they need to be working with, especially if they're tied to a geographic area. It might be a very broad area. I know here in Chicago, getting up north to Wisconsin or out to Indiana might be kind of a physical barrier to be able to really do that. But you still want to show them something. So in using prospecting, kind of our idea is that you can take pre-prepped presentations. So these are things that you know are always going to be hot items. Your top 10, new hire kits, trending products, color variations, eco-friendly, things that you're using on a regular basis. You can already have these ready to go. And you can send them out to these prospects if you're asking for a meeting, just to wow them before you even have that conversation. And because it's a link, you can see see who's opening, what's happening with it. You can also see which ones are having the most effect. And this is such a great way to just blow someone's socks off before they even get out there. And then talking about personalizing your deliverables. So we're still kind of in that pre-sales process. I've been to EMEs, I've been on soapboxes, I've been to Facilitate. These are meetings where you're having this interaction with your distributor directly. And they're becoming very prevalent in our industry. So nothing is kind of worse than attending these meetings and not having some deliverable that you can actually do very easily. But with the ZOOMstudio program, you can actually personalize each one for the person that you're interacting with. You could, like Bryce showed you, you can actually add their logo and without reinventing the wheel each time, but really being able to be ready for those meetings in person or virtually with that custom designed piece. And it just really makes a great opportunity to be able to tailor to the person you're speaking to and really get that connection so you can get that conversation going, even though you might not have a relationship existing already.
Yep. So just to give an example of that within the tool, as JGR mentioned, you can pre-prep designs. So somebody on your design team, even a sales rep, could go in and make designs of your top sellers, items that are great for the summer, and you can have those on hand. So you're not starting from scratch each time. So jumping in here, you can see that I have a summer products design. I know my customer has a summer event coming up or it wants to promote summer items. I can jump into that design and quickly make a version for them. So at minimum, you could switch out the branding so it has their logo. So you'll go to your design settings and change the default logo to the distributor's logo. So we'll see that replaced throughout the design. And then I can go further if I want. I could switch out some products if I feel some are not quite applicable to who I'm planning to send it to, or change out some of the lifestyle shots to match that company's branding a little bit more. Then I publish, I get my link, and I can send it on to them. Now, if you can imagine like buying groups, they all want custom content branded for them. So you could make the summer products catalog for all of them and then make a version for them with their own branding. And then you can see once published, it's really simple to share. And for this example, I did make a lookbook just to show you the scope. We'll touch more on lookbooks and catalogs in our next demo days when we talk about marketing. But you can see I've included a collection of items that would work well, as well as some nice images that support it. So they can browse here. They can click on items for more information. So this would take a designer a fair amount of time to put together if they're using InDesign. But now you've pre-prepped your templates and you have them ready to go in your dashboard, so you can make them for your customers as needed. So just
I love that. I love the mix of colors and imagery. Just it gets you excited when you see it. You really feel like you're getting a catalog that's been designed just for you.
Yes, absolutely. A lot better than a list of links in an email, which is what we see the most often with suppliers right now. All right. So next up.
So now we have your proactive selling. So this is the part that a lot of people just don't get to, because there's so many things that they have to be dealing with that they can't get in front of those requests. Now, when I was doing merchandising, I merchandised most programs on a pretty regular schedule. And the suppliers that I worked with that knew what schedule I was working on and could send me ideas ahead of time, they usually made it into the mix pretty quickly, especially if I had something that I could use right away, rather than have me having to do a lot of extra steps to it. So being able to keep some of these things proactively on their radar, you can say, okay, this is when we're going to be setting up this particular program, or this is when we're going to do a back to school campaign, or take your child to work, some of those more common calendar things, so that you're ready to go and you're sending it to them before they're even asking for it. And I know with vertical presentations, this vertical niches and industries is such a focus right now for so many distributors. I've talked to distributors who focus on hospice care or healthcare or education. They have kind of their world that they work in, and being able to make some small adjustments, you can really hit a vertical pretty easily, even if you're just updating those lifestyle shots to show that moment. You could have the exact same presentation for a couple of different ones, because the products are all applicable pretty much across the board. But because you have that extra imagery, it just makes it feel more alive, and it can really help that distributor tell that story to their end user, which is what we're trying to do, because we want that end user to buy their stuff. So this way we have that very easy transition for them, but they feel like you're making it just for them. And I think that is so important.
Yeah. And just to show you in the tool, very similar. So let me just switch over here. You can create these vertical market pieces. As JGR said, you could make something look like a vertical market with the same product. So you just clone it and switch out those lifestyle shots to be back to school or to be for education. Those are the same, but you get the point. So as an example, I do have a back to school piece set up here. Again, I can quickly just jump into it and add my customer's logo to get them exactly what they need, so they can start marketing these products and sharing them with their customers. So I can go to these pages. As mentioned, we could switch out the lifestyle shots if wanted. And then we can switch out the branding as well, possibly the contact information. And when we're done, we publish and we get our link and we can send it on. So again, just really simple. And I know a lot of suppliers do this with us already with their Zoom custom flyers, where distributors can drop their logo and information on there. And those are really helpful. And we have thousands of distributors using those every week. But the nice thing here is that they're even more customizable. They can switch out products. So depending on the use case, being able to just add branding is great. But when you need to get a little bit more detailed, you can come in and make final adjustments here.
Okay, so now we're moving on to enhancing your existing sales cycle. And I tentatively called this slide when someone's got their hair on fire, because we all have those moments. And being able to create the presentations quickly and easily, it's the key, it's the game changer. So one of the things that you can do is presentations on demand. So we know those distributors, they all have that I need something and I need it right now, and I have a specific idea. Actually, Charity Gibson shared us an actual real life scenario where she was on the phone with a client who said, I need green umbrellas. And she was able to create this in the moment while she's having the conversation. It was, like we like to say, it was click, click, send, we're done. But being able to have that motion going on really quickly. But one of the things I think I was the most excited about is the idea of this working together faster. So by being able to include what's called templates. So if you set up your presentation as a template, and we'll talk about this a lot on the marketing side too, you can share it with other reps so that you're not all creating the same thing in a silo. You're collaborating with each other. If you have one presentation and it's been going like crazy, like you're getting lots of feedback off it, why not share it with your team? And you could also do this with the distributor side. So you could create a template and then push it out to your distributors. You could send it to those buying groups so they can go in and make the edits that they want to, but they're not starting from scratch. I feel like that's a theme that we have going on today. You don't have to set all of this stuff from scratch. You're not starting from a blank Canva template, finding those images, copy, paste, pull them in, try to find them, make sure the data is too much. Like we don't have that kind of time or attention. So this is a way that just those things that you're already doing, because you're getting those requests, you can just do it faster. And if that customer, that distributor sees, oh my gosh, this presentation is done, why would I add other products to it? I'm just going to send it the way it is. And I got the sale. I mean, it's ideal. It's perfect. I'm a little biased, but I'm excited about it.
So let's show everybody how quick it really is. So let's take the scenario. You're on the phone with a customer and they are asking for a selection of bags. You know what bags are going to work for them. Again, traditionally, maybe you go through the website and get some links. But what you can do instead is jump into ZOOMstudio, create a new design. We'll get your design named. Get the distributor's logo there, and then you can use the 4-product layout or the 3-product layout you choose, but all you're doing is clicking add product, finding the product and adding. So as you can imagine, you can have this done and ready before you've hung up the phone. I can add more pages if I want, but I can publish, and that's it.
It's literally seconds and you're done.
Very, very quick.
We're just here to make everyone's lives a little easier.
Yeah. And then of course, we've touched on it, but you get a dashboard. So not only that, you'll be able to see once this design is viewed and shared. So you'll know if your customer's actually taken a look and if they sent it to their customer. If they're like, hey, I really hate this bag, you can also jump back in here and switch that bag within seconds and publish changes. The link they have is going to update to show those changes. JGR also touched on the fact that you can publish this as a template. So actually, probably a better example is doing it with this catalog. So you've created a beautiful summer catalog. You want to do a marketing campaign or share it with your team for them to use in their sales. If you go into your design settings, you'll be able to share it as editable. And once you turn this on, when somebody gets the link, they're going to get a pop-up that asks if they'd like to share it or customize it to make it their own. And then all they need to do is come in here and do these simple steps to switch out what they need, publish, and get their own link. So you can absolutely share these as templates for more collaboration and be able to utilize things that are working well. We're running out of time, and I do really want to try to get us to end on time. So we're going to touch on the last slide quickly, and then we're going to jump to Q&A.
Perfect. So the post-sale is one of those other things that kind of falls by the wayside because we just don't have time to do more add-ons or anything like that. One of the things that we really thought would be perfect is when you're saying that thank you email to thank someone for an order, you could actually include something that's related. So say they bought eco totes, you know that they like those, and you include a presentation that's got eco mugs. Maybe you can get that upsell. Also, being able to use this in any kind of a scheduling platform that you already have, because they're links, it's very easy to add these in the email blast. And on the marketing side, we will be putting out a blog on how to use the links within an email blast just to make it look really good. But we're not trying to add so much more onto anybody's plates. We're just trying to make sure that we can make those things so easy to do that you're already doing, or you don't have time for because we freed you up on the other side with all these things that you have to spend more time on. But these are just ways that you can have that continuous conversation, those continuous touch points. But because you have this system, all those things that we've already showed you, you can implement those into that step of the process and be able to keep having that conversation.
Yeah. And I think we could do an entire presentation on this slide. It's one that probably goes by the wayside for most companies. You work so hard to get that sale, you get the sale, and then you're done and you're on to the next thing. But there's so much opportunity to focus on the upsell after the sale, setting similar items that would work great, knowing that your customer's event is coming up in a couple of months, that they bought products for the year before, and introducing some new product suggestions. but it's time consuming and it's hard to be able to do all of this. But with a tool like ZOOMstudio, you can create this content really easily, and maybe something like that becomes a lot more accessible, especially for distributors. A distributor knows when their customers' events and reorders are coming. They can create this content and get it out there quickly and easily. So yes, we'll touch a bit more on this on marketing because it kind of is a marketing and sales area that we definitely would need to expand on. But from here, we're going to jump into Q&A. Now, again, I know this was a really quick demo, but we wanted to make sure we showed you the tools and gave some real life use cases on how these tools can help suppliers and distributors. If you can type in your questions, we'll go through those quickly. If we don't get to your questions, feel free to reach out to us directly. So the first question we have here is, how do we get our products in the tool? That is an excellent question. So integration is actually a really quick and easy process for you guys. There's very little work. So we have 3 options for getting your product data to us. 1, we can use your promo standards. 2, we have an API you can implement, or 3, we can use spreadsheets. We make it really, really simple for you. We basically do all the work on our end. If you are unsure if your promo standards is ready or if you have the right data, we'd be happy to do a quick audit as well. So reach out and we'll take a look, but you can get up and running within a week or 2, and we will do the heavy lifting on our end. And then to keep everything up to date, we keep constantly refreshing the data, and that ensures that the pricing and product information is accurate, product availability is accurate, and in line with the data that is available out there. We got the age-old question, which is, can we add logos to items? So the exciting news is we are currently building that feature right now. It is our focus. So you will be able to upload logo and it will appear on all the products within the design. So not quite yet, but if we did this demo in a month or 2, we would be showing you it as part of the demo. So right now you'll be using the supplier's stock images or your stock images. If you're a supplier, you can include different image options. So you can have your blank and imprinted item images available. But yes, you'll be able to upload logo and have them go on all the products. So coming very soon. Somebody's asking if they have to upload their lifestyle shots. So no, you definitely don't have to add any assets to the tool. As you could see in my demo today, I actually don't have a library of this one I do, but in my other account, I didn't have assets. However, I still could use Unsplash to get great images into my designs and personalize them. So you do not need to populate them, but it's really nice. If you do have photography and you're using them in your catalogs, it's a great way to just squeeze some more value out of those pieces and also get your content created in ZOOMstudio to be a little bit more on brand and in line with what you're producing. Somebody's asking if they could build a catalog in here. I think you mean like your actual catalog. And the answer is yes to that as well. So come to our marketing session. I've shown you some lookbooks that we created here, but you can add a lot of pages in here and a lot of products. You can make your pages really dynamic using different layouts. So you absolutely could build a full catalog in ZOOMstudio. And in fact, that was one of the core reasons we built it. As I touched on, we know how difficult and challenging that process is, but with ZOOMstudio, you can get it up and running really quickly. Okay, let's see. Sorry, there's questions in both the Q&A and chat, so feel free to drop them in either spots if you guys have. Somebody's asking for pricing of the tool, so another good question. So our pricing is dependent on how many SKUs you have, and then there'll be one-time fee for the setup and integration, and then an annual reoccurring fee based on your SKU count. So if you want to get a quote from us, just send over your SKU count to us, reach out, we can get you pricing. And also if you want to get on demo, we can do that as well. How do I add ZOOMstudio to my website? So we have a few integration options. The quickest, fastest, most simple is just adding a link to your studio on your website, maybe putting together a nice landing page for it. But we also have some really powerful APIs where you can actually enable people visiting your site to create presentations and catalogs with one single click. Our demo day 2 sessions from now is going to be focused on website integration. So definitely join if you want to learn a bit more about that functionality. which allow users to create presentations from your product pages or catalogs from a list of items in a shopping cart or the favorites list. So yes, you can definitely add to your website. We highly encourage it. And we have different options available depending on your website and your needs. So there's somebody's asking if there's a template where we can plug in customers' contact info and add their logo and phone number. So you can customize these templates as much as you want. We have some templates that have text blocks, so you could absolutely plug in their phone number and other contact information, and then you would be choosing their logo to be throughout the design. We do have some features down the road where we're going to enable you to actually have your customer's contact information stored, so you don't have to type it for each customer each time. You can actually just find them, pop it in, and it'll be part of the design. So the answer is yes, but I think there's some work to be done there to introduce some even more powerful functionality around it. And that actually brings up another good point. So in our template library right now, it's something we're always expanding and building on. So our layouts that we have here are fairly basic, but very, very powerful and dynamic. But there's going to be others. And eventually over time, we'll have layouts that may include other media like images and GIFs. And hopefully also allow you guys to be able to create your own layouts as needed within the tool. For those of you that are suppliers here, we also do have an additional service where we can build a custom layout for you that is based on your needs. So if you have a certain way that you really like your presentations to look, or you need a disclaimer on the bottom that should always be there, let us know. We can actually put together a layout that will make available in only your studio or multiple. And that way your team can use those and they can replicate whatever it is you like putting together and how you like designing your presentations. The video question. So I did just touch on it a little bit, but yes, it's not available in here yet, but we will be definitely including the video inside the tool so you can add videos to your pages and to the product. So that is another coming soon. We are fully focused on expanding on and building out ZOOMstudio. We have a lot of amazing features right now that make it really powerful, but of course, with all products, we have other opportunities. So if you have feature ideas and there's things that you would like us to add, definitely share your feedback. We roll out new features every single Friday. In fact, we have a change log we send out once a month with new features that have been released. And if you're interested in getting that, shoot us an email. We'll send you a way to subscribe. So will distributors be able to access supplier pictures that are uploaded, for example, lifestyle photos? Yes, definitely. So the cool thing about the asset library is your assets, you can put permissions on each asset. So you can have assets that are only available for your team, and you can have assets that are available to everybody. So if you choose everybody, of course, distributors and your team will be able to use them. But if you have, distributor logos, you don't want distributors accessing them. So depending on what permissions you set, you can absolutely provide a library of content to your distributors and then something different to your team as well. And we didn't touch on that too much, but in the dashboard, you actually can add your team where they can come in, and because of the role you assign them, they get different access. So they might be able to see what the rest of the team is creating, what distributors are opening and creating, or if they're just a rep, they're going to see their own content. So it's really important to us for the tool to provide those team level tools to help the collaboration and creation of content. So it's more than just creating, but it's tracking, collaborating, and getting those insights that help with decisions later on. Somebody's asking if there's access to watch this again. So yes, we did record this. We probably won't send the session out in an email just because we're not doing that, but we do have the recording. So if you want it, request it from us, we'd be happy to send it. But we also highly recommend any of you that can join our future sessions. The intro will be the same, so we'll touch on why we built Studio and what it is, but the rest will be different. So next week for me is like the most exciting. It's the marketing side of things. It's how to build catalogs.
Love the marketing side.
Yes, it's very exciting. So join us if you can. And this is going to continue. So right now we only have a few sessions scheduled, but we're going to be adding more focused on different areas. So we hope you can join us. If not, reach out. We will have recordings. All right, I think that's it. Any parting words, JGR?
This was great. I'm so glad to see so many familiar names in our participants. So thank you so much for taking time to have a conversation with us.
Yes, somebody did want you to know that they love your hair.
Thanks.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you making time to see what we're doing at Zoom Catalog. Really exciting stuff. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and some time off. Reach out if you have any questions or would like a demo, and we hope to chat to you guys soon. So thank you, everybody.